Republican or hey, I'm a Democrat. So at the end of the day, one of our biggest things is to say we're not either, we're conservative, because one of the biggest beliefs that we teach to all of the people in America is that being conservative does not mean that you're Republican or Democrat. It's a line for kids in high school. It's a choice, a big choice that they have to think about, and it's an adult decision. So for me, I always define Club America and being conservative as taking your morals and your beliefs and aligning them with what's going on in politics today, and saying, hey, whether you believe in Christ or not, but most of you probably do, saying, hey, this is what the Bible gives me, and this is what my morals and my beliefs give me, and this is how I'm going to take that into what I choose and who I choose to vote for going into politics. So that was one of my biggest missions, to teach all of the kids in Club America, and all of the, whether they were seniors or whether they were freshmen coming into that club. So getting that club up and running was very fun, and I really enjoyed it. Now we have a striving, well, I say striving, we're not as big as the Gulf Coast chapter, obviously, but we have finally reached up to double digits, and we are in 25 members, which is really good. And I'm really proud to say that because it used to be only 12. So fun. So recently I was just asked, and obviously given the opportunity by Ms. Belinda, to also have the opportunity to be on Tuberville's campaign, which is very fun. I'm so happy I get to do that. So I get emails and I get Instagram posts that I repost, that I help outreach through my club and through other clubs, and I reach out to people and I talk about his campaign. One of my biggest things, why I started supporting him so heavily, was 2 reasons. One of those reasons is because I am a female athlete. I play volleyball for my school, and I play for 3 national volleyball teams. Being a female athlete is very important to me, that with how much coach actually protects the rights of women in women's sports. Because I can never imagine walking into a locker room and sitting across a biological male and being told that I have to compete at the same level as him. Because I know I cannot do that. Another big reason is my parents are both contractors. We own a company and we're in roofing. So one of the biggest things for us is that we are one of those companies that crosses all their T's, dots all their I's, and does everything to the best of our abilities. One of our biggest things is customer service, doing everything right, and breaking basically your concept of a roofing company and making it 10 times better. So during all of this time, and with the borders, a lot of roofing companies take shortcuts and make it a lot harder for our company to compete with today's companies who don't cross all their T's and dot all their I's and take shortcuts, lower costs, even though probably not a good idea, and kind of screw over a bunch of people who really just need a roof at the end of the day. So, and most of those companies are sadly using illegal immigrants to come across the borders. So for me and my family, it directly connects me to Governor Bill's campaign of securing our borders as well. And that very much so helps me and my family, and it would help secure all of that and allow us to be more recognized for doing everything the right way instead of trying to cut corners. And I know there are plenty of other small businesses and other things of that nature that are sadly being cheated because of bigger companies, and bigger companies doing such things as like cutting those corners or cutting those costs or things of that nature. And it's just one of the things I back for him. And so that's what really made me help him a lot. And with that, we have him. So what's one of our big projects? Oh, recently I reached out to him, and we were thinking about getting a meeting going for Fair Oak High School to host. We don't know how that's going. It's in the works. I can't tell you what's in the works because I'm not up there, but you know what? Okay. So he's trying to come down and involve more kids with his Students for Coach organization. Coach is doing a really good job of involving kids. That's why I'm even here. And it's a really big deal because his program is honestly amazing. And I also just want to say bye to all of the people who are here, and that I hope your campaigns go lovely. Saying that. And that's really all I have to say for y'all. So, thank y'all for having me.
We are so proud of her, and she's doing such a great job. So I've spoken with Senator Trumbull's campaign about this meeting that we're trying to get at Parrott High School. So it wouldn't hurt, reach out to the campaign, reach out to the school, tell them you want this to happen. We would love to have him come speak to these kids. So next I'm going to bring up Kyle Henderson. Kyle's one of our sponsors for this quarter. And he is a candidate for County Commission District 2.
Attention to the flag, and the flag over there, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you,
Dear Lord, thank you for this opportunity for us to gather tonight, like-minded individuals seeking to make our country better. God, you put our country on a path, and we just want to honor you by listening and being obedient, taking the next right step in everything that we do. Lord, I ask that the hedge of protection be placed over each one of these candidates and move forward in pursuing what you have called them to do. And Lord, I ask that you watch over all of us, and I thank you for the blessings that you've provided us, the years of experience, and also the energy of the youth in this fight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Kyle Henderson. I'm running for County Commissioner in District 2. A little bit about me. After graduating law school, my wife and I moved to Baldwin County. We've been here for over 17 years, where I worked at the District Attorney's Office prosecuting anywhere between misdemeanors to violent criminal cases. After spending 2 years there, I spent the past 15 years as a small business owner in the private practice of law. I've represented various individuals and businesses throughout the county, and I'm proud of it. And I've gotten to meet a lot of great people. This campaign has been, I didn't know what to expect because I'm not a politician, I'm a lawyer. And the county commission has never had an actual, as far as I know, an actual lawyer as a county commissioner. And the value that I believe that can bring is, instead of having to rely on the county attorney to tell people what the law is and what the law means, the county commissioner that isn't a lawyer can actually do that. Actually make certain comments live when everybody's listening, that this is what this law means and what it doesn't. Now, right now in Baldwin County, we have what is called limited home rule, meaning the state legislature gets to tell us mostly what we can and cannot do with Baldwin County. One of the things I want to do as a county commissioner is to work with our state legislators to pass bills that affect Baldwin County, let Baldwin County make decisions for Baldwin County, not Montgomery dictating what Baldwin County can and cannot do. And just not to say anything about any of the county, the current legislators, but Senate Bill 71 was an environmental bill. That bill passed the state legislature and the governor signed it the other day. That prohibits us from exceeding federal standards on clean water and other things. Baldwin County is the dumping ground of everywhere else in the state. We're the last place to get our water. All the treatment facilities running into our bays and rivers. If we need to exceed it, we need to have that ability. And we need to continue to work with them, but that bill needs a lot of work to promote what we cherish here in Baldwin County. I'm against this solar farm in Stockton. It's going to destroy our wetlands. It's going to destroy our streams. Every time it rains, it's going to destroy and continue to destroy. And we need that to stop. And I will do everything in my power if I'm elected county commissioner to make sure that that project does not come to fruition. Now, I'll close because my time is limited. But I'm a girl dad. I have 2 daughters. And I agree that men do not have any business in women's sports. And of course, County Commission is a little different, but I will make that known wherever I go. I do not support men trying to compete against women in women's sports. But to close, I've lived here for 17 years. I promise to listen to you, to serve you, and lead with integrity. This is where my children were born. This is where my children go to school. This is where we go to church. This is our home. And I'm asking every one of you on May 19th to vote for Kyle Henderson for County Commissioner in District 2. And also want to thank Eastern Shore Republican Women for hosting this event tonight. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I'll give everybody my cell phone number. If anybody wants to write it down. My number is 251-232-2461. 251-232-2461. Please vote Kyle Henderson, County Commissioner, District 2, May 19th. Thank you, everyone.
Next, we're going to have the opportunity to hear from 2 candidates for Congressional District 1. First, I'll bring up Jenny Dees to speak with us.
Okay. You mind if I turn this on?
No, not yet.
All right, good. I'm really running on a shoestring budget here, so let's take it there.
As long as you got something that'll make it stand up.
I think you'll stand up. That's good. Hey, listen, I appreciate the opportunity to be out here tonight. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, real quick. I'm originally born in Alabama, Haydenville, Alabama. It's north of Birmingham. Moved to Mobile in '83 to go to university. Met my wife. We had 3 kids. They were all born in Mobile Infirmary. In 2002, we decided to take an 18-month assignment in Alberta. It's not Alberta, it's Alberta. It's actually a province above, in Canada. It's about as far north where we live as you could get for a paved road. There were no roads past where we lived at. So that 18-month assignment turned out to be 18 years. And in that time, I had we came back to Alabama to take care of parents. We were originally from Mobile. Looked at that, said, no, I think we want to move to the Eastern Shore, so we bought a home in Fairfield from the middle of COVID. There were 2 homes to pick from. We picked the one with 3 bikes. Currently, I work for Mobile Police Department. I'm a detective with them. I look after white-collar crimes, financial. I won't get into the whole story about me and finances, but I certainly have a plan to do that because I hate math. But that's one of the things I want to talk to you a bit about tonight. When Alita and I bought our first home in 1994, we married in '92, bought our first home in 1994. I went back and looked, and I made $46,000 that year. That's not bad for 1994. The average income in the U.S. at that time was $25,000 a year. I think we paid $68,000 for that home. We had a mortgage. We had a car note. We tied to the church. But it didn't work. I was the only one working at the time. We had 1 child. We were expecting another. We went on vacations to the beach. We went to New Orleans, and we still had money in our bank account. We had an HMO that we were, somewhat satisfied with. We will tell you. Fast forward to 2026. Oh, by the way, in 1994, we had $5 trillion was our national debt. $5 trillion. It worked out to about $20,000 per taxpayer at that time in 1994. Fast forward, 2026, that national debt is now roughly $40 trillion. So it grew, you can do the math, it grew 650% over that time period. Now the average wage in the U.S. has also grown. It's grown to around $70,000, 125%. Okay, so you got it. So the debt has grown 650%. Wages have only grown roughly 125%. 125%. You think that's a good thing? All right. So now the average taxpayer is $75,000 a year. If you break down the debt, that taxpayer now owes $289,000 in debt, in national debt. $289,000. I looked at the CEO report that was issued a couple of weeks ago, and I do know how to run a balance sheet. I worked for Exxon for 20 years, and I was responsible for a capital program. I know that businesses have an operating expense, and they have a capital expense program. There is no way to make the math work. The non-discretionary spending in this country today, plus the tax that we pay, if you just look at that, the interest on the debt is equal to the revenue that's coming in. That means we are borrowing every year for discretionary spending, which includes the military, it includes any kind of infrastructure, any kind of pet projects that Congress wants to bring back to the districts. All of that money has to be borrowed. And I'm telling you, if you read the CDO, what's going to happen in the next 10 years, no one's talking about it. The math does not work. It is mathematically impossible to balance the budget. And if you ever hear a congressman or a senator saying they're going to balance the budget, they can't do it. The only way you can do it is to completely cut out discretionary spending and go after the non-discretionary spending. And no one wants to talk about it. We're talking about other issues. And by the way, look, I support the platform the Republican Party has today. I'm all for it, okay? But listen, we are standing at the edge of an abyss. And if we don't have congressmen and senators talking about that and dealing with it and coming up with a plan, this country is going to be in a world of hurt. And it's not 10, 15, 20 years down the road. It's sitting right in front of us today. The other thing, real quick, on the Stockton Solar Farm, I actually wrote an opinion piece. So let me tell you something about solar, wind, and hydro. It works great as long as the wind's blowing, the sun's out, and the water's flowing. But utility companies they have to build to something called peak demand. So when you want that air in July, and it's 100 degrees outside, and maybe the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing, you've got to be able to meet that peak demand. And the only way to do that today is through fossil fuels. You're either going to do it with coal or you're going to do it with natural gas. It's okay if we want to have solar energy in the future. It's okay to have that kind of plan, but just recognize today the only way that you're going to meet peak demand is to have facilities and power generation in place that will meet the demand. I don't know, does that make sense? Do you understand that? And by the way, the thing in Stockton, I don't know, are they going to feed into the grid here? I think I know the answer.
They feed into transmission line here.
To go where?
Well, it's an offset.
Well, it's essentially an offset for Meta that's going to put in a data center in Montgomery. And to be honest, it makes them feel good because they're a company that's committed to zero emissions. So they're able to. I don't know what we do about wetlands here, but I know in the past if you take up 2,000 acres of wetlands, you have to go buy it somewhere else, or you gotta go flood it somewhere else. Is that the same here in Baldwin County? My point is, that we have real issues in this country. And to me, the national debt, and us continuing to add to the debt, is something that's facing us all. And if we don't send folks to Washington to tell the truth, we're going to be in trouble. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Appreciate the meal, everybody coming out. If you have any questions, I can either answer them now, or is it going to be a time after? Okay, not going to do a Q&A? Yeah, you can just come up and talk to me, and I'll be glad to share my thoughts, all right? Oh, and by the way, I had dinner with Austin the other night. He is a fine young man. And I'm telling you, everyone that I've met, I like him. Okay? If you could send 2 of us to Washington, I wish you'd send us both. But Austin, he's a godly man. And, I appreciate the opportunity to get to know him. He's a good guy. Thank you.
Now, welcome up, Austin Sidwell.
Can y'all hear okay? I couldn't hardly hear from over there.
Not good.
Y'all hear if I hold it up here? Okay. All right. Jimmy, thank you. I think we both represent people who speak the truth, and I think that matters. But like I said, I'm Austin Sidwell, also running for the 1st Congressional District. Give you kind of a little bit of my background. I grew up here in Baldwin County. Went to Foley High School, left Foley High School, went to the United States Air Force Academy, where I was lucky enough to make it through and get a pilot training slot. Went to pilot training where instead of flying the fast nose or the pointy nose fast nose jets, I was one of the weird Air Force guys that went and flew helicopters. That led me to fly combat search and rescue at Moody Air Force Base for a few years, where I met my wife. We now have 3 wonderful children. Peyton's 15, Juliet's 8, and Samson is 4. But we left there and we went to Fort Rucker, where I was the head instructor and lead evaluator for the Air Force helicopter training unit there. I spent the last 5.5 years of my Air Force career at Fort Rucker. And in my time at Fort Rucker, I was able to get an MBA, and then I started law school during COVID. I just graduated from law school in December. Went to Jones's executive program up in Montgomery. Great experience. Didn't know that I would ever do that while working active duty Air Force and then running my parents' company afterwards. But left the Air Force in 2023. Moved back down here to Baldwin County. My wife and I live over towards Fish River on the Fairhope side of the 13th Bridge. And the goal in coming back was to run my family's security company. My dad's owned the company for 33 years, and the thought was to come run it, send it into retirement, and I'll kind of get started in the business world. Maybe one day get into politics, because our country's going to need it eventually. Well, that came to a head here this summer when Congressman Moore stepped out of the seat. I took a look at this position and some of the candidates and just where we're at as a country, and we don't have time to wait. This is not the best time for me to run. I'm 36 years old, not in the financial position that some of the other candidates are in. And when God leads you to do something, you answer the call, and that's why I'm running. Our country is in a position now where we've got a president. Say what you want about him, but he's a fighter. Right? He is fighting for something, and I believe in the direction that he's leading this country. But the problem is, for the past 70 years, our Congress has delegated all of its power, and it has failed to produce any results. And right now, we have the president, we have Congress, and we have the courts, and yet what conservative principles have we advanced? In fact, over the past 36 years, my entire life, have we spoken about the exact same things as conservatives? Small government, fair tax system, a balanced budget, basic common sense conservative principles. And there is one thing that remains constant as to why we have not advanced on these principles. our Congress does not work for our interests. Congress works for the special interest and the lobbying interests in D.C. They take the money to campaign, they take the money to get reelected, and those are the interests that they count on to, not us. They no longer represent us. This country was created, this government was created as a government for the people, by the people. Our government is no longer made up of people that look like me and you, that reflect the districts that they're supposed to represent. And the only way forward, the only way that we save this country for our kids, for your grandkids, is that we start putting new people in Congress. We start giving ourselves a Congress that works for our districts. Now, the first district, it's crazy district, right? It goes all the way from the Mississippi line all the way over to the Georgia line. The House of Representatives is supposed to encompass people that make up that district. Right? You've got to have experience and understand the different dynamics that encompass this wild district. I spent 6 years living in Dothan and flying at Fort Rucker. I understand the wiregrass at a level I'll say no other candidate in this race understands that part of the district. I grew up here in Baldwin County, moved back here as soon as I was done with my military service. I understand Baldwin County. My mom's side of the family is from Mobile. I understand Mobile. I grew up here. When we talk about some of these issues that are going on in our districts, when we talk about the solar farm, for which I was the only congressional candidate there, not because it was a campaign stunt, because I actually care about what happens here. I don't care about the special interests in D.C. that are pulling us one way. I care about the people of this district. When we talk about Mobile Bay, we need people that actually grew up fishing on Mobile Bay, making our decisions that surround it. People that understand that I can no longer go out there with my son and pull fish out of Mobile Bay like I used to do with my granddad, because it's poison now. Because these politicians, they don't care. But the only way forward, the only way that we make a difference is that we step up and finally vote different. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. There is a moment right now in this country. There is a moment where we are starting to have our voice again. Where we are starting to get to a point where we are fed up. But it's not going to change unless y'all decide it's going to change. Unless people stand up and speak out and say, I'm not a part of this establishment, career politician swamp that has consumed our government. We need to elect people outside of that establishment. And I'm here to represent your interests. So the primary, which this is an R+30 district, the primary is May 19th. That's your election. You have a decision to make between Republican candidates. This is one of the most conservative districts in the entire country. We deserve a candidate that reflects those conservative values in every single way that he's going to vote in Congress. And not necessarily always in line with the president. Not necessarily always in line with the party. The district and the interests of this district have to come first. And that's how we move forward. That's how we provide the American dream to our kids and to your grandkids. We have to preserve this. This country is worth fighting for, and if we don't step out and do that and do something different, we're going to lose it. So I would appreciate your vote on May 19th. I'll be here as long as anyone else is here, and I will talk, answer any questions. My card's got my cell phone number, so I'll make sure that each one of y'all have that. Primary is May 19th. Get out and vote and understand the people that you are voting for, because it matters. We've gone too long voting for people that don't represent our interests. I'm Austin Sidwell, and thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Austin. Now we're going to move into our Alabama Senate District 32 portion of the meeting. Tonight we were excited to hear from both of the candidates for the office. Unfortunately, you'll notice Mike Gant is not with us this evening. He had an emergency, someone close to him that he has had to fly out to Houston to go be with due to illness. So we are going to hear from Chris Elliott this evening, and we are very excited to welcome him. What I'm going to do, Chris, is just ask you the same questions that I was planning to ask in the forum on some of the key issues facing our state. So we'll just start out with this. What uniquely qualifies you to continue to lead District 32?
Thanks, and thanks everyone for having me. I'm going to try to make sure y'all can hear me. If you can't, George, holler at me, okay? If you
Yeah,
can't hear,
I can go tell them.
okay. So just make sure you know that. I got to do a little bit of an intro before we hop into the qualifications. Look, Jessica and I were talking about getting involved in politics a long time ago, George. I think I was one of the first guys you interviewed on your show, probably, 15, 16 years ago when I was the young Republican president. When I joined the Baldwin County Republican Party, Don McGriff was running it, and Becky Vasco still made sure everything ran like a top, and so, and Martha Hope, y'all remember all those names, and so I've been around a minute. I'm glad to say I'm not running for Congress, because the state of Alabama is in much, much better shape than the United States is. We have balanced budgets. We're in really good shape fiscally. And so I listened to y'all and have seen what's going on at the federal level, and I am so darn glad that there are folks that are willing to stand up and take on that morass, because I can tell you right now, it's discouraging to see that. It's very discouraging to see that. So I was asked, why am I qualified to do this? Why should you keep sending me up there to do this? Because it is 3D chess in Montgomery. You have got to know what you are doing, or it will eat you alive. And those special interests are nothing to be trifled with. They know what they're doing. And so you've got to make sure that you have your principles in order before you go to Montgomery, because there aren't any there to be had when you get there. So know what you are and who you are on the front end. Make sure that you have those conservative values that you've had for your whole life in place before you go to Montgomery, and then apply them. Apply them regardless of what the special interests say, and apply them to what your constituents say and what the issue ahead of you is. And read everything. Know what you're doing. Pay attention to what you're doing and make sure that you are informed. Look, I learned a long time ago, government's supposed to focus and spend money on really one of three things. It's public education, public infrastructure, okay, roads and bridges, and sheriff, it's public safety. And if it's not that, we ought not be spending money on it. It's almost that simple. And so those are the things your state ought to be spending money on. That's one of the reasons I'm so glad we do have a balanced budget in Alabama. We are starting to see our revenues drop off. It takes good fiscal conservatives to make sure that we maintain our balanced budgets, that we maintain our savings accounts, that we maintain our rainy day funds, and we are in great shape in Alabama.
Fantastic. And so we'll just expand on some of those things that you just mentioned. Starting out with Baldwin County being one of the fastest growing counties in Alabama, what specific action will you take in Montgomery to address infrastructure strain?
So that's the fight every day, right? Because we compete for infrastructure dollars for the rest of the state. Now, when you say Baldwin County is the fastest growing county in Alabama, that is almost an understatement. It's one of the fastest growing metropolitan statistic areas in the country. 9th last time we looked at it. We had 8,000 people a year. That means every 2 years we have more people here than in the population of some counties in Alabama total. How in the world do you keep up with that? How do you keep up with roads and bridges? How do you keep up with the widening projects and resurfacing projects? And at the last State Transportation Improvement Plan, and I sit on the Joint Transportation Committee where we allocate these funds, Baldwin County received more state funding than any other county in this state. That takes fighting. That takes understanding how the system works. That takes making sure that you work that system for the advantage and to the advantage of your constituents, and that's what we do every day. So when you see road work going on in Baldwin County, I'd ask you this: is it going on a city road, a county road, or a state road? 9 times out of 10, it's going on a state road. It's a widening, it's a resurfacing, it's a new bridge. It's taking over the Baldwin Beach Express from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to I-10 and eventually to I-65. Can you imagine what a burden that takes off the county commission, the city of Foley, to have to maintain? And we did that. The new bridge over the Intercoastal, that's a state project. There are state projects in Tinsall at the beginning of my district, right over here. state projects over and over and over again, and then providing the other resources that we do to do great projects like this amphitheater just down that road right there. And so that's what I fight for every day, a proven track record of bringing home hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in state funding.
All right, and next we'll move on to education. Where do you stand on schools choice expansion, and how should public education be funded in high-growth counties?
So I'm a big proponent of school choice, and I have been for a really, really long time. I'm from here. I went away to school in Virginia. I came back as quick as I could, but when I was in Virginia, when I was 21 years old, I ran for the Virginia House of Delegates. In an inner city urban area of Richmond, Georgia, you and I have talked about this before. The previous Republican got 3% of the vote. When the votes were cast, I got 25% of the vote. You know how I did it? Talking about school choice in 2001, 25 years ago. I'm a huge believer in school choice, and we have one of the most innovative, successful school choice programs in the country right now in Alabama, and I am so proud of it, and I'm so proud of the work it's doing. Next year, it's going to be open to everybody. Right now, there are income limits on it. Next year, it's open to anybody. And so, when you apply, you'll end up with $7,000 to do what you want to with your kids at whatever school that you want to go to. Can you imagine how much of a difference that would have made for some of us that went to private schools growing up and their families? Now, let's talk about fast-growing districts. Y'all are familiar with the Foundation Program. That is our education funding system in Alabama. It collects money at the state revenue or state level based on revenues, local revenues, and local ad valorem dollars. That program has been changed exactly once since its inception, and I did it to account for fast-growing school districts. And what we do is we calculate not what your population was 2 years ago, but we look at what it is now. We were leaving, remember those 8,000 people a year? We were leaving 5,000, 10,000 kids that weren't counted on our rolls that we were still having to educate every single year. And so we don't do that anymore. We're catching up much faster, and it's real money back for schools, all schools in Baldwin County.
Okay. Yeah, please, go ahead, clap. How should the state better support law enforcement and first responders? And that's where
Yeah. So, Sheriff, I think we're doing a pretty good job at the state level. Your bill that the Sheriff's Association that I'm sponsoring will likely be on the House calendar next week. Excuse me, this week, Thursday most likely. And so what we do is anything we can. The first thing we do is we quit letting dangerous criminals out of prison. We were seeing repeat offenders. I'm sorry, but the folks that are in our state prisons right now are bad folks, and they need to stay there, period. We don't need to keep sending them back so Sheriff Lowry can arrest them again, put them back through the judicial system, and then send them back up there again. We're done with that, and we've passed law after law after law to make sure that that doesn't continue to happen. We most recently passed a law that provides for the death penalty for child rapists. Now, who wants to talk about that at 6:45 at night? But that's a huge deal, and it's something that we should have done a long time ago. And then it's funding, right? It's making sure that we have funding in place, that we're supportive of our law enforcement as it relates to funding, and we talk to our law enforcement folks on a regular basis to make sure that they have what they need in order to be successful.
Alabama currently has strong revenues. Should surplus funds go towards tax cuts, infrastructure, debt reduction, or reserves, and why?
Yes, and we've done all of that, right? So 2 years ago, we sent everybody a check. 2 years ago, we paid down the state's debt. 2 years ago, we topped off all of the reserve funds, the rainy day accounts, etc. And so the answer is some of all of that. Get us in a good financial situation, top off the rainy day funds, and then what do you do with the rest? Because we had this surplus. Give it back. And give it back for two reasons. One, it's not ours, it's yours. And two, what is the best way to control the growth of government? Put it on a diet, quit feeding it. You got extra money, don't spend it, send it back to the people who it's theirs to begin with. We've done the good fiscal responsibility things that we're supposed to do, which is top off the rainy day funds, pay down debt, that's done. Now what? Now give the rest of it back so you don't grow government. So the answer is all of the above.
All right, insurance costs on the Gulf Coast are rising rapidly. What should the Alabama Senate do, if anything, to stabilize premiums?
So Representative Francis Holt Jones, who is an insurance expert, and myself, I'm a contractor by trade, have seen our fair share of storm repairs and insurance problems along this coast. And so we have a joint study committee that is constantly looking at insurance costs, insurance premiums, and how to reduce those. We have programs in Alabama that use the Fortified Building Program to make sure that our roofs are in good shape, right? And provide incentives for folks to, when they re-roof, to re-roof correctly, so that the next storm we have, make sure it doesn't blow off the shingles, and you don't have the drywall damage, and you don't have all of the other problems. What we don't need to do is be heavy-handed at the government level. We've seen that in our neighboring states, particularly Florida, and we can run the providers out of the market if we're not careful. And so there is a free market in insurance. It fluctuates and those costs move around some, but what you don't want to do is overreact to the point where the big players leave the market altogether, because then you're left with nothing. So again, the answer is both. It's fortify your homes. It's new building codes. When I was on the county commission, we adopted some of the toughest building codes in the country, and we have seen less and less storm damage from that. We've also seen and are making the insurance companies give you credits for that if you have a fortified home. Just don't mess with the market too much, or you'll run them off and you'll cause bigger problems.
What role should the state play in addressing mental health courts, addiction services, and prison overcrowding?
Yeah, so Representative Matt Simpson set up the first mental health court here in Baldwin County, something I'm particularly proud of. And let me run through that. All too often, and Sheriff, I'm sorry I'm going to point at you one more time, but all too often our police officers and our sheriff's deputies end up being the mental health first responders. That's not how it should be. Decades ago, the state closed all of our mental health, the majority of our mental health facilities. What did that leave? Who's taking up that slack? That man is. In his jail. That's not right. That's not how we should be doing it. And so what we've been doing is setting up regional mental health crisis centers to try to get those people the care that they need. We've set up courts that are diversion courts, right, to say, hey, listen, this person committed a crime, but why? Because they're mentally ill. Are they going to get better in prison? Probably not. How can we get this person the care that they need so that they can go back to being a contributing member of society as opposed to taking up space in the sheriff's jail? And so we've done those things. Do we need to do more? Yeah, we absolutely do need to do more, and that is something we need to continue to focus on.
How will you ensure transparency and communication with constituents in Senate District 32?
How do I do on that, Ms. Wheeler? I do good, thanks. So most of y'all know you can get a hold of me if you need me. Most of you have my cell phone number and call on a regular basis. Ms. Wheeler and I were talking about an issue she had earlier today, and we're going to get that fixed. We get a ton of communication. I have some great staff that helps me with that on a day-in, day-out basis. We try to respond to absolutely everything we get in. If I miss it, it's my fault. It's not the staff's fault. It's my fault if we miss it. But when I say thousands of pieces of communication, it's thousands of pieces of communication. Transparency, listen, every vote I've got is recorded. There was something that came out today in a news story about the House of Representatives and voting buttons. I don't know if any of y'all saw that story and how that works. In the Senate, you got to be present. They call your name and you answer. And so we are just as transparent as we can be about how we vote. My record's 8 years long. You can go look at how I voted on anything out there, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it and why.
And those are the last of the scripted questions. So now I'll just let you close us out with why should we put you back in that seat again, and anything that we missed that you want to share with us.
So I know I've talked to some folks about the Bay today and some of the things that we've done to protect our environment and what's important to me. And it dawned on me. I was handing out these little brochure things, and there's a picture of me in a state trooper helicopter. And I want to tell you all that story if I can. So when we first learned about what the Corps of Engineers was doing in the Bay, I reached out to some folks at the port and the Corps, and the response I got was, we're not even sure that video you saw was of what's really going on out there. I said, okay, I know how to fix this. And Sheriff, you and I made some buddies with the troopers in their helicopter, so I made a phone call and said, hey, I need a lift. And so most all of the video that you've seen on the news or on the internet or anywhere else on the mud dumping in the Bay was taken with my iPhone hanging out the side of a state trooper helicopter. That's the kind of transparency I talk about. I'm going to go see what's happening right there on the ground and pay attention to what's going on. And so when there are issues that pop up like that, I'm going to get involved in it. To you gentlemen's point, I'm going to make sure I'm representing the district and what's important to y'all. And I'm going to fight for it. Representative Brett Marcus and I passed a piece of legislation that effectively bans dumping mud in the Bay. Now listen, it took some 3D chess to get there. How does the state of Alabama tell the federal government what they can and can't do? Well, you do it using their rules. It requires ADEM, it requires DCNR to provide or to give their concurrency with the federal plan. I can tell DCNR and ADEM what to do. We're going to use the federal rules to do it. And so that's the type of experience and problem solving I bring to this job. That's an example of how I can solve a problem, understand the system, and know how it works. Guys, I would love to go back to my family construction business. I'm not quite done yet. I've got this figured out. I know how this thing works. It is working for you. I'm working for you. Please let me continue to do it for 4 more years. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. And before we adjourn, I'm going to go around and let our other candidates have a minute to share what they're running for. So I'm going to start going around this way.
I'm Terry Waters. I'm running for State Senate District 22. I'm a little outside my district, but I wanted to come over here and hopefully see Mr. Elliott and Mr. Mann. It's good to be here. I appreciate your vote on May 19th. I'll be around if anybody's got any questions. Thanks.
Hey, Anthony Lowry, I'm your Baldwin County Sheriff. I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I appreciate being here with you. And I absolutely appreciate, I've seen Austin speak now like 2 or 3 times in with over a week. So I could get up and talk for you, but good job, Austin, as always. But hey, thank you guys for coming out tonight and listening to these candidates. Thank you, Linda.
Hello, everybody. My name is George Williams. I'm the chairman of the Alabama Minority Republicans. And in spite of what those lying Democrats say, remember, there are a lot of black Republicans in Alabama. And I'm so proud of what we're doing to help the Republican Party out and help the citizens of Alabama. So, and also, on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, on FM 106.5 at 7 o'clock, that's me. That's me. So listen to my radio show, and I'm telling you, I'm really happy what's happening in Alabama now. So I'm a part of it, and I'll be a part of it until the Lord takes me away.
Thank you. Okay, as I'm coming this way, we have a guest with us tonight, and she just wants to say hello. She is helping out with a fundraiser. Actually, this lady is here too. She just wants to tell you just a little bit about her.
Hey, I'm Marie Klein. I am not running for office, but I am here to tell you just a little bit about the American Cancer Society Shut Cancer event. So we have coming up here in April 9th at Ocala Farm, we have the American Cancer Society Shut Cancer event, and we would love for you all to come out. We have a couple of us doing some fundraisers though. So we are actually doing what is called the Fairhope Mahjong Getaway. So for those of you that actually know what that is, it's a beautiful tile game that most of your wives might play, or sisters and friends. So I'm running that with my girlfriends from Mahjong by the Bay and Southern Chart Mahjong, Mahjong Magnolia team, and we are hosting that event. And all of that money goes to the American Cancer Society. So we would love to have you. We have sponsorships available, so we will have a lot of candidates' names up there who'd like to support us. Hint, hint. So if any of you would like to support an amazing event, please come and find me. I have my name, my phone number, and some ways that you can get involved to help the American Cancer Society. So thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hey, everybody, I'm Tracy Gatewood, and I'm running for State Executive Committee, Place 3. I've been on the State Executive Committee in another county, so now that I'm here, I want to be on it here as well. I'm the Resolutions Chair for the Baldwin County Executive Committee, and so for me to be able to put the resolutions forward at the state level, I need to be, on the State Executive Committee. So just a practical matter, but I'd appreciate your vote in May.
Hey, my name's Liam Skelly. I'm running for district judge. Just to echo what you said just a minute ago, I think on Wednesday night at Fairhope Brewing Company, Madison Cruz is having a shot cancer event as well. The district court is misdemeanors, traffic tickets, evictions, and civil matters under $20,000. It's the stuff that I do all day, every day. So I appreciate your vote on May 19th.
Okay, don't let me miss anybody. Did I miss anyone? She's not looking at me. I think she wants to talk.
Whitney Skopecki. I'm running for Baldwin County Board of Education, District 5. Most of you are probably not in my district, but your support matters all the same. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, Whitney. Okay, and before we conclude, I wanted to mention this. On our check-in table, we had some pledge cards for the American Legion. Many of you know that right now they are in a big rebuilding project that they've been working on. Our club will be partnering them with some fundraisers. There's going to be a clay shoot on May the 9th and some other things we're going to help them with. But if you know anybody that might want to donate to the cause, we've got the pledge cards here, and we'll have those at our meetings going forward. But thank you all so much for coming out. Our next luncheon will be candidates for Lieutenant Governor on March the 12th at Fairhope Yacht Club. And thank y'all all for being here.
There's signs outside and bumper stickers and all that fun stuff. Take one with you if you want it.